Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we have part 3 of our delve exploration, our preview, our review, our feedback, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be missing one delve because I still can't get into that one. It just teleports me out before I can get into it. So we're going to have gone over 9 of 10 of them. This might not be the last content I do on delves for the whole beta, but I did want to at least get through these and test every single one, give feedback on it, give a little bit about each delve that I tested, and kind of like, give my thoughts on how they're doing and if it's still looking fun, because delves were a big hit in the War Within, and I honestly think they're going to continue to be so, based on, my playthroughs of these delves here on the beta. I imagine they're going to be pretty well liked still. All right, so we're going to start here in Parhelion Plaza. So this is one I've done multiple times. This particular story isn't the best in my opinion, and honestly this is probably one of my least favorite delves as well. One, it's more of a scenario. It's kind of like the opening scenario of the expansion of Midnight or whatever. It's not super delvy. It's more of a scenario, if you remember like scenarios from Miss Pandaria. But like for this one in particular, you kind of just go around and do these pillars. You activate these robots here. We can do that real quick, and then they go destroy the pillars. That's kind of how this story goes. Once you do all that, you just go fight the big boss in the middle. It takes a while to do this. These robots don't do a ton of damage before they like short circuit or whatever. You fight this big boss in the middle here. You can kind of see him. Boss was fine. There was one bug report that I had to do. It's worth mentioning here in the video as well. He does like a really long charge, and especially like a lot of the issues are like when you have Valeria as tank, right? If Valeria is facing towards either this bridge or the bridge on the other side, he actually charge right out of the arena and just reset. Very frustrating, of course, for that to happen. Yeah, that was definitely a frustrating experience to have that happen, to reset like at half health. But obviously it probably shouldn't do that. There should be a invisible barrier or something where he doesn't charge out, or the reset range should be a lot further away. But even so, like, it's hard to get Valeria to face the right way. So like what I had to do is I was just taunting to get the boss to face the correct way that I wanted to face and stuff, and like taunting it over, more over there. So where it would be very hard to angle outside of the arena. So that's kind of like a bug report, I guess, there. I couldn't, in this particular one there was environment, but I believe on the other story there is. That's the other thing, is I think there's a lot more environmental damage. I think I got unlucky on some of my first playthroughs of these and not getting a story that had environmental damage, but the reality is there's a ton of it. And so that's kind of one of the big things I talk about, because it's kind of the most fun thing for me to do in the delves. There is a point, I think it's over here at this tower actually, like way over there, that you have to actually pick up a spear to help finish off this big obelisk, and it's not made evident that you have to do that. So I could see people being very confused about how to do it. I don't know, maybe you have all this other stuff over here anyways, maybe like load the spear into the catapult, whatever it's called, and maybe that would help people figure it out. It didn't take me much time to figure it out, because I think you either do it on the other story as well, even though it's like a different thing, or you do it in the actual opening scenario. So like I kind of knew to do it, but I could see people being completely confused. It's just a spear on the ground. You have to pick it up and walk it to the thing and shoot it. But I could see people being confused by it. Overall, this is probably one of my least favorite ones, not because of the actual combat or the bosses or the robots or whatever, just because it's kind of outdoors. It's just a scenario, and there's not a ton going on with this one. It's definitely not my favorite. However, like, what about somebody who just loves Blood Elf stuff, right? And like, hey, this is my favorite one because I'm like in a Blood Elf area. I could totally see that, 100%. For the next one, we're actually going to head to Collegiate Calamity. So this was my favorite delve out of all of them, and we'll head to this one next and talk a little bit about that. All right, so here we are at Collegiate Calamity. Again, like I said, this is one of my favorite ones. It kind of breaks my rule. It's not super delvy. It is more of like a scenario, which I normally give points off for. But this is really, really cool. There's a lot of stuff going on in this one. You start off, you're like in these, this library or whatever, and you need to kind of like make your way outside and see what's going on. So I'm not actually like the biggest like Harry Potter fan or whatever, but this kind of had like vibes of, it's hard to it's hard to say because it's not like exactly like it or anything, but just because you're in a school, I guess it almost had vibes of like the Hogwarts battle or something like that. I can tell whoever made this like had a lot of fun making this one and just kind of putting a lot of fun and silly things into it, which I think is like a good thing for delves. There's all kinds of stuff you can pick up. This is a shield. There's all kinds of like books and different things that can do different stuff for you. So this one does damage, for example. So there's all kinds of books. Look for stuff to pick up. You know, you blow them up, and then you have to activate these arcane wards, and that's going to unlock the boss. And there's just all kinds of cool little nifty stuff going on in the inside of this one. You got a portal up to the top, and like pretty much everything about this one, I just super enjoyed it. I could see everyone kind of enjoying this one. If you like like playful things, or you know, the silliness of like, oh, I'm going to pick up this book and it's going to do a bunch of damage, or anything like that, right? What else do I have here for my notes? Damage shield or damage and shields and stuff. Like, again, it's like a scenario. So yeah, and then also it's like, this isn't something that we've really done too much before in the game. Like we're like it's kind of novel in that we're kind of like defending a school, right? Like, oh, here's a school, or a college or whatever, and we're kind of defending it from the attack or whatever. It's like a weirder scenario than we've normally done. You know, we would do something like this maybe in Dragonfight, and you could say like Algathar's Academy, for example. So kind of like kind of a similar vibe, I guess. But this is a little bit different. This is it's set up a little bit different than that, in my opinion. So I really enjoyed this one. There wasn't like a ton on this particular story. There wasn't like a ton of environmental damage, but it didn't matter because there were so many like different books and stuff to pick up. There's potion over here to pick up, all kinds of different stuff to do. It was just so cool, and this is by far one of my favorite ones. Like, this is, so if you're going to do like an outside scenario or whatever, like this is probably one of the better ones to do. Like, this is how you do it. Like, make it interesting, make it something new that we haven't done before or have done very little of ever in the past. Instead of being like, oh, here's an outdoor scenario and it's basically the same as the opening of the quest line of the expansion. Like, this one's just, in my opinion, like so much better. You have like a little field down here as well, you can see. That's kind of cool. But everything about this one I thought was cool. Like the visuals, everything about it as you explore this place is just really, really neat. So this one was great. A plus. Again, it might be my favorite one. It's hard to say for sure which one was my favorite. Maybe I'll do something like that later on and like talk about my favorite ones, my least favorite ones. But this is probably my favorite. I had a lot of fun doing this one. Next up, and for the last one of these, we're going to head to Shadow Enclave, which was also ironically one of my favorite ones. So we'll pick up at the Shadow Enclave. All right, so here we are at the Shadow Enclave. Now, this has a very similar vibe to a lot of the other Voidy ones. It's not very super unique or anything like that. But yeah, this happens to be, again, so in this final one, two of my favorite ones are in here. I've really, really enjoyed this one. Now, for some other ones, I've said things like, you know, I don't really like this particular thing, but I could see other people maybe liking it. This is one where I say I do like it, but I could see why other people might not like it as much as I do. And there's a lot of chaos going on, I would say, in this particular story, at least. And I was here for all of it. So there's these little eyeballs everywhere, and if you stand in them, you'll get hit, but they'll also hit your enemies. It also knocks you back, so it can knock you off the edge. I did get knocked off the edge during fighting a rare spawn the first time doing it on a much higher level than on plus 10 or whatever. It was just it's just really fun. I love doing this kind of stuff. So for me, what I would like to do is I would like to like do a big old pull, bring them to these eyes right here. Let's get an eye and then get out of the way, and then have it hit the stuff and just do as much damage to the stuff as I can. I like doing that stuff. And so because there's so many of these eyes, that's what happens if you get hit. Because there's so many of them, you can just like kind of constantly do it. Like, this eye's already back over here, and I could see them maybe like lowering the spawn rate of it, but I hope not. It's just actually really fun to do. You do have to make sure. Now, the part where I could see other people being annoyed is that I could see people getting annoyed that they're getting knocked off the edge, or, you know, stuff like that, right? Like, I could definitely understand that, but for me, I just love this stuff. I don't know if it spawns every time. I was going to see if this was here too. I don't see it. Or maybe we could spawn in different spots. But I could explain it. That might be it. What's that? No, that's another thing. So there's also stuff to pick up. Or maybe it can be different each time or whatever. So there's like stuff to pick up to do damage. One of them was a really cool sword in the one I did earlier. And the sword, like, you throw it and it lunges back to you and like does a bunch of damage. So just tons of cool like little stuff to do to help make killing everything even easier. Makes big pulls easier, all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed this one. Now there was nothing special about the actual like layout of the delve. It's just a cave, just a void cave, typical void cave, right? Nothing special there. But it was just really cool to be able to like set up these poles, hit everything with the eyes, and just go from there, right? This is about where I got knocked off the edge here. So I was fighting like a rare spawn that was here, and I wasn't paying attention to one of these eyes and just knocked me right off the edge. Oh, I got feared. So yeah, this one's really fun. And if you like the chaos, if you like a bunch of environmental damage, if you like gathering up big poles and using these eyes to knock them back, this is one you'll really like. I think there's the sword thing I was looking for earlier. That just shoots a sword through and then back to you. It's really cool. And then again, more stuff to click on. And so it's just like, well, I guess that one wasn't a buff, but either way, there's like buffs to click on as well. And I just think that's really cool when they add that stuff in there. It's actually a huge it's actually almost shocking when you have like this one and then the Collegiate Calamity that we just we're in, how much cool stuff there is in those. And then like randomly you'll do one and there's like not much cool stuff in it. And it's a little bit disappointing, you know, because it's like, wow, this one had so much and some of them don't have anything. But yeah, this one was really fun as well. Obviously, it's only one story of it, so I can't. I would like to say I could tell you that the end boss is actually pretty fun too for this particular story, but I don't know if that's going to be the case in all of them. Just like I don't know if all these eyes are going to spawn in every single story. I hope so though. I hope the eyes are like the spores, right? That's what they kind of remind me of for this one because there's so many spores in the War Within ones that had the spores. So I hope the eyes are kind of like that, and I like that the eyes are kind of like. They're more strategic a little bit, in my opinion. You activate them the same way by having to stand in it, but in my opinion, it's easier to get out of it as a melee than the spores. And then also, I love like you can kind of like aim the knockback as well, the direction you want it to go. But yeah, enjoyed this one. Super high amount. Collegiate Calamity, super high amount. The Parhelion Plaza, probably one of my least favorites. So 2 of my favorites, one of my least favorites. Overall, I think delves are looking in a great spot. Like I said, maybe I'll do a video talking about, you know, just the state of delves and everyone should be excited and stuff like that. And I still need to test the final delve whenever I can actually get into it. But I did want to do some delve content. I know it's not like the most popular content and stuff, but I am trying to just figure out a way to do delve content because so many players are doing delves, including myself, especially on my alts, but even on my main sometimes, you know, especially now that you can get a little bit of higher crests and stuff, or once you can turn your crests into the higher crests, exchange them. Sometimes it's just easier to go solo a couple delves and then exchange some rune crests up to the gilded or whatever, right? So like I do delves, and you know, tons of people do delves. It's a hard thing to make content for, but I'm gonna work on it until I can find a way to make interesting delve content. So that's it for this one though. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Subscribing helps a lot. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. Other than that, everybody have a good one.